Welcome, everyone. This is Sherry Truler with Red Apple Auctions. I wanted to give you some highlights of a recent event I worked. This was in August of 2017 in Oak Brook, Illinois. It's the Night to End Hunger, which is an event put on by Loaves and Fishes. This event is a wine-focused event. Last year, in prior years, I haven't worked with them before, but in prior years, this was an ultra-specific wine event, wine auction. This year, it became more of what I would say is a traditional auction with some wine elements that were quite high-end. And one of them is this sign that you're looking at. The certain VIP sponsors were invited into a wine tasting. I think there were 5 tables of 8 or 10 in this specific room, and they got to try 3 exquisite wines, a Chardonnay, a Margaux, and then a Plump Jack Cabernet Sauvignon. And that's the signage you're looking at. This slide now that you're seeing on the screen talks about those wines, and that specific reception began about 1 hour before the doors opened for everyone else. So they are having this in a private room separate from the silent auction reception. You can see they had some nibbles to eat. And the way that the room was structured is that there was a sommelier at the front. You can see him there at the back corner. And he talked about each of the wines and why they were, what their history was, some of the details about the wines, and people could ask questions. So everybody had these nibbles and so forth. Once that ended, we all moved into the regular event, and this is the silent auction you're looking at. Through the double doors is the ballroom. We'll look at that later. Off to the right was the registration and checkout area, and this is the silent auction that you see here. This video, if you look on the right, what you would see is an area where you could buy special wine. I'll talk about that in a moment. And what we just missed there is the live auction, but we've zoomed in on it with this video. This is a close-up of what the live auction display looked like. It's on a circular table, which is a wonderful way to save space if you're trying to figure out how to condense your silent or your live auction rather, can go onto a round table like this, a highboy table, and it's just fine because there's no bid sheets to worry about. You like to have the live auction items all together. You don't want them spread out. You want them all condensed into one space so people can see them all at the same time, and it's easier to sell those items. I'm always talking to guests about them and comparing them and showing them different. If they're interested in wine, I want to show them comparison side by side what those 2 wine packages are, right? Or what those 2 trips are. So this makes it easy for that. The graphics are large. Those are beautiful graphics, easy to read, good font size. Now there are going to be questions about the trips because you can't get all of the information you need on the trip on that size of a sheet. So that's going to have to be provided in a different way. The silent auction is where we are right now to make it easy for guests to flow around. They've got vertical displays, which look nice. Great silent auction setup, really. This is very beautiful. This event was held at the Hyatt in Oakbridge, which is on the McDonald's campus. I think McDonald's is moving into Chicago, but right now it's still the McDonald's campus. And so those sugar cookies emulate the architecture of the building itself. Here we see an extra large silent auction item. It's a stand-up garden trough that looked nice in the displays. This particular table was also silent auction items. They were using mobile bidding. And they put this on a round table because those were higher end. It's like a super silent area. The dessert table, which looked fabulous, from Le Chocolat, a vendor I've worked with before at other Naperville, Illinois events, had this gorgeous display. Those were apparent, they were visible in the silent auction reception period, but they were not available to eat until after the gala program ended. So we had our silent auction reception. We moved guests in for the sit-down dinner and the program and the live auction, and then they came back out into the silent auction area, and they were able to then eat desserts at that time. So they were on display, but they just weren't being used. I pulled this shot in because, as mentioned, this is a wine event. Within the silent auction area itself, people could buy upgraded wine to serve at their meal. They didn't have to, it was an option, but they had, 5 options, 6 options or so of upgraded wine if they wanted to purchase bottles of wine. The ballroom is laid out as you see on the screen. We had 2 large screens, the stage, modest rise on the stage, not a super high stage. Good sound system. There was a professional AV company who was managing all of that. Fall-inspired event, as you would expect for a August um, August fundraiser. Pretty flowers there. It was a lovely event. And there I am after the event. I forgot to take a shot at the auction itself, so before I went into my hotel room for the night, grabbed a shot there so I primarily would remember what I wore. So there's the catalog for the front cover of that. You might recognize the architectural elements from those sugar cookies. Good event.